Hey everybody, it's Samuel Allred. Welcome back to the Persistence Outdoors podcast. I was out a couple weeks ago hiking around in the snow looking for a Christmas tree, and I also brought my shotgun just in case I flushed a grouse or a snowshoe hare. I found a nice tree, and I did see a grouse, but it got away from me. And one thing I noticed is that I was wearing basically the same outfit I would wear hunting, but one major thing had changed with the falling of new snow. I was wearing gaiters on my legs. If you've never heard of them, gaiters, spelled Gaiters, are a garment that you wear over the top of your boot and wrapped around your lower leg to protect that area from abrasion and prevent dirt, rocks, debris, snow, and water from getting into your boots. They're a bit hard to explain. They start out as a rectangle and wrap around your ankle and lower leg to form a cylinder shape, kind of like a paper towel where the cardboard in the center is your leg and the paper towel around it is the gaiter. They usually have Velcro down your shin to hold the gaiter together and have a durable strap that runs under the arch of the boot to keep them from sliding up your leg. They'll also have a small hook in the front that hooks onto your laces to keep tension and help them function properly. And lastly, they'll usually have an adjustable or elastic opening at the top, closer to your knee, to keep the gaiter from sliding down your leg. By protecting your lower leg and keeping water and debris out of your boots, gaiters expand the usefulness of your footwear and allow you to walk through wet and brushy terrain that you might otherwise be inclined to avoid. So that's what we're going to talk about today, gaiters, how they compare to rain pants and snow boots, and a couple brands that I recommend. Before we get into it, if you've been enjoying this podcast, if you've learned something, please follow the show and give it a 5-star rating on whatever platform you listen on. That will help the podcast grow and help more people get outdoors and into hunting. All right, so there's all types of gaiters out there, from short trail running gaiters that just cover your ankle to thick snake gaiters designed to protect you from snake bites. You can have breathable gaiters made for warm, dusty weather, or completely waterproof gaiters made for snow and ice. They can be short, tall, knee-high. There's really quite a variety out there. If there's a specific need you have related to protecting your lower leg or keeping stuff out of your boots, you can likely find a gaiter for it. When it comes to hunting, though, I think the type of gaiters people use the most are mountaineering or expedition style gaiters. These gaiters have a tough, rugged outer layer, sometimes cordura or something similar, and a waterproof inner layer, something like Gore-Tex. They're usually knee-high and they're designed for constant contact with snow, ice, brush, and rocks, so they have to be super durable. They might be overkill on a trail or in mild conditions, but in snow and rugged terrain, they can be a real asset. So when would you use these gaiters? There's 3 main situations that come to mind. The first is hiking in snow. When there's snow on the ground, your pants and boots become susceptible to getting wet. If the snow's deep enough, you could punch through and have snow get in the top of your boot as you pull your leg up, or snow will brush off plants and get in the top of your boot and melt there, or after a while, the snow can get the hem of your pants wet and drip down into your boots. All of these are less than ideal because they result in your feet getting wet and therefore cold. You could switch to a taller, waterproof boot, say a pack boot, but chances are they won't be as comfortable as your hiking boots. Pack boots are heavier, they're less breathable, less flexible, so when you really need to put on the miles in snow, your leather boots with gaiters are a great option. You get all the comfort and functionality of your hiking boots, but with added protection. You might also just not have taller boots to wear, so getting some gaiters can be a relatively inexpensive way to extend the usefulness of your boots further into the late season. Gaiters with boots are also great for snowshoeing. Again, when you're being active, you need something that's reasonably comfortable and flexible, but you don't want to get snow in your boots. The second situation that comes to mind is when I'm hiking on wet ground and in wet brush. Hopefully, I'm wearing a waterproof boot, right? But any water that gets in the top of your boot will soak into your socks and trickle into your boot. Hiking through wet brush can soak the hem of your pants, and if the ground is wet, you may be walking through puddles, mud, small streams. All of those things can get your feet wet. Also, since everything is wet, it's likely to be a little more sticky, meaning you'll collect debris on your lower legs and possibly in your boots. So it's nice to avoid this issue completely by just covering up your lower leg with a gaiter. It provides a waterproof layer, keeps stuff out of your boots, and it even allows you a little more depth when you're quickly stepping through puddles or small streams. The third scenario in which I would wear gaiters is when there are bad ticks. When I'm hunting bears in the spring, I might be wearing gaiters for the reasons I've mentioned already, but I've also noticed that they can be super helpful for keeping ticks out. If your gaiters are tight enough, they can just make it that much harder for ticks to climb up your leg, which I think is a plus. Some warm weather gaiters are even treated with insect repellent for this very reason. So to summarize all that, when there's snow on the ground or there's wet brush, that's when I use my gaiters the most. That's specifically for the mountaineering style gaiters that are rugged and waterproof. Like I said, there's lots of different types of gaiters, but I think those are the ones that hunters use the most. For me in North Idaho, I'll be wearing gaiters from late November all the way until mid-spring and any other times throughout the year that I think they'd be useful. Now, I want to compare gaiters to some other types of clothing so you can kind of understand their strengths and limitations. What about rain pants? Can gaiters replace rain pants? Well, if you're hiking a lot, gaiters will be much more breathable than rain pants. If you're hiking in rain pants, you're likely to sweat in them, right? Creating a moisture problem from the inside. In gaiters, they only go up to your knee at most, so your body can lose moisture through your soft shell pants in other areas. But they only go up to your knee. So if you're in consistent rain or a downpour, they're not going to keep your legs dry for long. Eventually, your pants above your knee are going to get wet and soak, and the water will soak down under the gaiters. Another thing to keep in mind with rain pants and gaiters is that gaiters are designed to be much more durable than rain pants. Rain pants can be pretty delicate sometimes, especially ultralight and packable rain gear. So in terrain where your rain pants could get roughed up or torn, your gaiters are much more likely to sustain prolonged, repeated abuse because that's what they're designed for. Rain pants and gaiters aren't necessarily mutually exclusive either. You can wear them together. In really wet conditions where you need rain pants, but you also need the abrasion protection of gaiters, you can definitely wear both. You just wear your gaiters over your rain pants. Okay, what about gaiters versus snow boots? Well, we've talked about this a bit, right? Gaiters can extend the functionality of your normal leather boots that you use year-round pretty well. Where they really lose out to snow boots, though, is the warmth factor. Gaiters do provide some additional warmth, and you'll find your expedition-style waterproof gaiters are much too hot for warmer weather hunts, but they won't provide the same warmth as an insulated boot. So if you've got tall, thick, insulated boots, those could be a better option just depending on how cold it is and how far you have to hike. If you're only hiking a short ways in, and then you're going to be still in very cold weather for a very long time, boots may be the way to go. But if you've got a long way to hike, want to save some weight, and will be generating body heat the whole way, you might be better off with gaiters. So that's just a little information on gaiters and why they're useful. I really like gaiters. I find them super versatile, and I think they're a great way to upgrade your kit without necessarily having to buy a whole new pair of boots or another pair of pants or something like that. I know hardcore backcountry hunters are familiar with Gaiters, but I wish more people knew about them because you don't need to be a special operator or something to benefit from Gaiters, and I think they can really improve your hunt. If you want to buy some Gaiters, the Gaiters I've been wearing recently are made by Kuiu. They're the thicker Yukon version, and I'd certainly recommend them. They've stood up to a lot of hiking in snow, spring bear hunting, elk hunting, you name it. The other brand I would recommend is Outdoor Research. That's what all the guys climbing Mount Rainier wore when I was growing up, and I've used them as well. They're a great option. I'll link to both of those in the show notes. When you're buying Gaiters, look for a couple things. A, make sure they're durable enough to withstand what you're doing. So some sort of Cordura or durable synthetic outer layer that's abrasion resistant. B, look for something that's waterproof, assuming you want a waterproof gaiter for cold and wet weather. And C, make sure the gaiters fit over your boots and over any layers you'll be wearing under them. All right, well, I hope this shorter gear-focused episode has been helpful for you. I'm recording this while traveling, so I decided to go for a more succinct topic. But if you guys really like it, let me know. Send me an email at persistenceoutdoors2022@gmail.com and let me know. And maybe I'll make it a thing, special Gear Talk episodes or something like that. I usually end with some sort of philosophical musings, but gear and gaiters are just a little more down to earth. So today I will end with this. See you later, gaiter. I just had to say it. I've been waiting the whole podcast. Okay, bye.